How do you win games in Valorant? The answer to this question will differ depending on who you ask, but they all come back to one metric, and that is impact. Having impact in a game means that you directly influence the match in your favor, and if you can replicate that impact across all of your games, you will be able to influence every single match in your favor. So how do we have impact in our games? If you were to ask me, the players who have the biggest impact in their games are entry fraggers. If you aren't familiar with the term, entry fragging means that you are the first person to go out on site and initiate the first fight of the round. This is important for creating impact because if you are winning those first fights of the round, you are immediately putting your team at a man advantage with site control as well. In this video, I want to show you how you can become a better entry fragger and in turn have more impact in your games. Before we actually talk about how to entry frag, we need to understand what our job is as an entry. To put it simply, the primary job of an entry is to take space on site quickly so the enemies have to shift their attention from holding the main choke point and instead focus on you being on site. If you don't have an entry on your team, when your team executes a site, you will all be funneled through a tight choke point, so all the enemies will just spray through main and wipe out your team easily. However, if you do have an entry, the enemies on site need to choose whether they want to look at you or the main choke point. If they look at you, they will likely be traded very easily by your team if you end up dying. And if they focus their attention on main instead of you, then you'll just have a very easy kill on them since they aren't even going to be looking at you. So it's a win-win scenario no matter what. This might seem like a basic concept, but understanding this fundamental is crucial to becoming a better entry fragger. A big factor when it comes to entering is your network connection, since having unstable high ping or packet loss will make winning fights consistently a lot harder and you'll die a lot because of it. This is exactly why I've partnered with Exitlag to help you guys get better ping and connection in Valorant. Exitlag is a network routing optimization software that will help you get the best ping possible using AI routing optimization technology. Simply create an account and install Exitlag, then select Valorant as your game. Then simply just select what server you want to play on and click apply routes, and boom, you will now have the most optimized ping possible. It's really that easy. Exitlag is an extremely trusted software that millions of players use around the world, so by clicking my link at the top of the description, you can start a free trial and try it out for yourself right now. Huge thank you to Exitlag for sponsoring this video, and with that being said, let's get into the mechanics of entry fragging. The first thing to consider when learning how to entry frag is the agent that you are entering with. Duelists are the most optimal agents for entering due to their movement-based kit, but there are actually two different types of duelists. You have entry duelists and you have second entry duelists. Entry duelists consist of Raze, Jett, Neon, and Waylay, while second entry duelists consist of Reyna, ISO, and Yoru. The reason why these two categories are separated is because the entry duelists all have some sort of movement ability like a dash, satchels, or sprint that can help them close distance quickly. Yoru can be played as an entry, but it takes a lot more knowledge of how to use his TP, so I wouldn't recommend doing it if you're a beginner. And technically, you can still entry frag on a second entry duelists, but it's going to be a bit harder because you don't have that movement utility to really give you the big advantage. Now that we know the different types of duelists, let's figure out how we want to entry with them. Jett and Waylay are similar in the sense that they both have a dash, so they can be grouped together. In my opinion, Jett is much better than Waylay, and Waylay is honestly not a very good duelist at the moment, so I would play Jett if you're looking for a dash character. For entering with Jett, the best method is to combo your smokes with your dash, so the enemies have a harder time trying to kill you. If you throw down a smoke on site and dash into it, the enemy will have to guess and predict which side of the smoke you're going to swing out of, and this will buy so much time for your team to come out on site as well. This can be made even more effective if it's comboed with your updraft as well, because now they have to look up to try to kill you, making it even harder for them by messing up their crosshair placement. For entering with Raze, you have your satchels to help you get out on site, but your nade is very important as well. You can use your nade to block off an angle and then use your satchels to peek the angle that you force them to with the nade. Some great examples of this would be nading elbow on split and then satcheling out on A site to isolate the player on site, or nading back site on B site bind and then satcheling out to catch the player while he's moving. Raze is a pretty versatile duelist, so you can have a lot of creative liberty with how you want to entry. For Neon, your wall, stun, and slide can all be used in combination to completely tear through the enemy's defense. You can throw up your wall, then shoot a stun through the wall like you would a Raze nade to block off a choke point, and then slide through the wall to take the fight. Similar to Raze, you can be very versatile here, and there's so many different ways that you can entry with Neon. There is no one size fits all approach to how you decide to use your utility, but these are some examples of the versatility you have when it comes to your utility. The next thing to understand while learning how to entry frag is not just your own utility, but also utility that will be used to help you and utility that will be used against you. Let's talk about utility that will help you first. Let's say you're a Jett that's about to entry on C site Haven. You could just smoke site and dash out, but you have no idea where the enemies are actually positioned on site. This is where if you have a Sova on your team to shoot a dart back site and have a Reyna or Omen on your team to throw a flash as you entry, you have so much supporting utility to win those fights on site. Overwhelming the site players with utility while you are entering is so powerful because there's almost nothing they can do about it. However, just as much as your teammates' utility can support you, you have to think about the enemy's utility that could hurt you. If they have a Cypher playing C and you dash out and get hit by a trip, you are pretty much guaranteed dead. If they have a Sova who's playing back site and he shoots a dart out behind you and you get scanned, you are pretty much guaranteed dead. You have to look at the agent composition that you are playing against and be ready for them to use their utility to slow you down and punish you on an entry. If they have a Cypher, you can updraft before you dash out to ensure that you dash above the trips. If they have a Sova that shoots out a dart as you entry, you can throw down a second smoke on yourself so that you can avoid getting scanned by the dart. Being able to predict and maneuver around the utility that the enemies are using to sabotage you is the key to being a successful entry fragger. This leads me to my next point, which is to find the timing to execute the entry. When you entry and the timing of it plays a huge role in how likely it is to be successful. If you go out too early, you run the risk of your smokes not being up yet, your Sova dart hasn't gone out yet, or your team isn't scaled up far enough to give you any supporting utility. You went so fast that your team wasn't able to help you out, which can actually screw you over in a lot of cases. On the other hand though, if you wait too long and don't take the timing when you had it, the enemies will be fully rotated to the site and you'll be executing a site that has 5 players on it, and the chances of you winning that is a lot lower. You need to find that sweet spot when your team is just starting to throw out utility and when the enemies are still in the process of rotating. This will ensure that you have supporting utility on your entry while only having 1 or 2 enemy players holding the site. The best way that I like to find the timing is I like to contact up a site until we get to main, and then when my team is ready and starts throwing out utility, then I go out with it, because this will ensure that we haven't made sound so the enemies haven't had a reason to over rotate. Not only does the timing of the entry matter, but the map that you're playing on will also be very important for you to figure out your plan. Are you on Ascent where you can smoke and updraft top gen to peek dice in hell? Or are you on Pearl where you can smoke off and push halls to take back site control? Understanding the layout of the site and where the best place to position yourself when taking it is crucial to being an unstoppable entry fragger. I would highly recommend getting creative with how you like to entry on each map, and constantly switching up your entry will keep your enemies guessing and make you as unpredictable as possible. Maybe I already updraft dash on top of gen, so this round I'm going to dash front dice and swing around the right side, and then the next round I'll dash front gen and go around the left side. On Icebox, I love abusing this angle where you jump on top of pipes and then you can peek over the Viper wall to see backside, and this is honestly just free kills right here. There are infinite ways to switch up the way you entry, and getting comfortable switching it up is a huge game changer. Not only only will getting comfortable with different types of entries help you be more unpredictable, but it will also help you become more confident. I feel like I say this in almost every video, but I have to reiterate it because it is so important. Confidence is key, and you need to be confident to succeed in anything, and Valorant is no exception. If you have a lot of self-doubt or struggle with confidence, being an entry fragger is going to be one of the hardest roles for you to adopt. Confidence is built up over time by doing the same thing over and over and over again until you feel you understand it better than anybody else. Practice different entries in Swift Play or Unrated to get a feel for how you would do it in Ranked. Go into a custom game and try different routes and practice executing them. If you have a friend to do this with, you could even do an entry drill where your friend plays somewhere on site and then you need to entry out and try to kill them. Remember that practice makes perfect, and practice builds confidence, and you'll need it to be a good entry fragger. And I think that pretty much covers all of the topics about entry fragging. First, we talked about different agents to entry with and how to entry with each agent. Then we talked about your teammate's utility that will help you entry and the enemy's utility that will work against your entry. Then we talked about finding the timing for the entry and the map that you're playing on as well. And finally, we talked about confidence and how practice is important and will help build confidence as a byproduct. With all of that being said, if you guys found this video helpful, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Your guys' support means the world to me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for y'all, so I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions about entering or anything I talked about in this video, make sure to leave a comment so I can help you out. If you want to ask me more personally, I have a Discord server linked down in the description below. I'm super active in there and we have a super chill community and we would love to have you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.